Yes, the clash. I love it too. What a way to start a week. Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to 60 Days of Summer. We're more than halfway through our summer programming, which is crazy to think that summer is flying by that fast. But here we are. I am Angela Paoli, Vice President of Education and Broker Development. I am here today to kind of coordinate our Zenlist training session. I have an amazing trainer here today. Today, we're going to be talking about 60 days of summer a little bit. We'll go into the Zenlist training, and then we'll talk about this week's challenge. This session will probably be 60 minutes. So for those of you that are trying to time things today, plan on being here with us till about 10. No big deal if you have to drop off. If you have questions, put them in the chat. We will save like 10 minutes at the end for Q&A. All right, so just an overview of 60 Days of Summer. We go through August 11th, and every Monday we will have a Zoom on different topics. Also, we will have office parties. We're kicking off our 60 Days of Summer parties today. Goose Island is our first party that starts at 1 o'clock today, so I hope to see you guys there. It's going to be super fun. Amy Core's coming. Coaching and training will be there. We have some great food and things planned and some good business discussion. So hope to see you guys there. Look out for your office's invitation and please RSVP to those. And we would love to celebrate your wins. If you have any business wins this summer, please email summer@properties.com. You can find us in two places. One is on the @Agent app in the coaching and training room. The second place is on the coaching and training page on Platform. Either way, you'll find promotions for every Monday Zoom. You'll also find the recordings and any collateral, so please check us out there. So like I said, we are more than halfway through our summer programming. We are on week 6. We'll be talking about Zenlist today. If you guys joined us last time for our breakout discussions, we had about 100 people a few weeks ago. We had a great breakout discussion. We will be doing that next Monday, so join us then for that too. All right, I'm going to kick it off to Taylor Kirley. She is our customer account manager at Zenlist. Taylor does a lot of training for us, and we're super excited to have you here today, Taylor. Give me a minute to stop share, and then you can take over the screen. Hi.
Awesome. Hey, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be back online with you guys.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, and I'll pull up my screen and then we'll kick it off. And we've got, some great topics to cover today. We'll show you how to set up that profile, send client invites, navigate the feed, create and manage tours, talk about archiving and deleting clients once we're done working with them, and talk about reverse prospecting. So with that said, let's kick it off. And like Angela mentioned, if you do have a question, feel free to pop it in the chat. We'll answer those at the end once the training wraps up. So without further ado, for those of you who need to log in and set up your account, just really quick on how to do that. You're going to come to zenlist.com, right like I am here, and you're going to come to this Get Started button. You're going to sign up with email, put in your first, last name, your email address that, probably be your @properties email, and then pick the password for your account, and then you hit sign up. It's that simple. You go through the next few steps of the sign up flow. We recognize you as being a part of @properties so that you get this covered for you, just for being an @properties agent, so that you can use this service for free and start inviting your clients, your buyers and sellers to work with you on Zenlist. Now, once you sign up and you make it through the flow, I'll sign into my Zenlist account right now. We're going to want to upload a profile photo and make sure all of our information is verified so that the people we are inviting to Zenlist, our buyers and sellers, they have a picture of our face when they're searching on Zenlist, and our phone number is in there and all of that good stuff. So once you are on Zenlist, you're going to see a screen for the first time that looks similar to this. And as you start inviting clients, this is going to load up that information and it will start to look similar to mine. As you're first getting started, though, that first step, creating and making sure your profile is set up. What I'm going to do is direct our eyes down to the bottom left of this screen over here, and we can hit account. Once we hit account, we're going to come up to this personal info section right here, and we're going to add a profile photo. This is what our clients will see when they see our information in our account. So it just makes this more personable, lets your clients know what you look like, puts a picture out there to the people. So you can just hit edit and upload a profile photo right here, and you can take care of that. Second thing is you'll want to put your phone number on here, so your clients know how to contact you. You can add a phone number just by hitting edit right here. You are going to want to make sure that that is a mobile phone number so that your clients know how to contact you. Also going to ask you for a verification code, send you a verification to that mobile number. And if you input an office number right here, you're going to say, hey, like, I can't get that verification code. It's because it needs that verification comes via text. So input your mobile phone number right here, hit save, and then you will be good to go. Now, in addition to that, and we'll get a little bit more in depth on how to use this a little bit later when we talk about sending client invites, but you'll have this Zenlink public profile as well. That's going to pull that profile picture in that we uploaded back in that personal info section. But this can really operate similarly to your real estate link tree, link sharing, resource sharing. You can take this link and share it with anyone out in the world and ask them to work with you on Zenlist, or they can actually request access to work with you. You can come in here and you can edit what this main section looks like, customize that, with whatever you'd like. And then you can add links to maybe your market report, fundraisers, incorporate your Google reviews, videos for listings that you might have, decide to include your 24-month stats. So this can really be, that link that you can share all your resources on, but incorporates things that are specific to your real estate business. And so come in here and get this set up. To add a URL link, like your website, you could call this my website. Hit www.zenlist.com. We'll hit add section, what have you. That would add that section to your profile right here. We can drag and drop all of these to put them in whatever order that we want. So come in here, get that profile photo uploaded, get your mobile number on here, and then just come take a peek at this and kind of customize this. And right before we wrap up talking about client invites, all that good stuff, we'll come back and we'll talk about some more specific use cases here. Now, with that said, let's talk about working with clients on Zenlist. So for those of you who are new and who may not know, Zenlist is not a public search platform. How this works, you as an agent, you sign up for Zenlist. For you guys, you're getting this courtesy of App Properties. You connect your agent MLS ID, and once you're in the platform, you get an MLS level of search, and you can invite your clients to Zenlist to allow them to search with you on this platform, chat, request tours. Your clients on Zenlist get access to the same MLS level of search that you do, which includes private listings from all brokerages in MRED so that they can create their own searches in tandem with any searches that you might be sending them on Zenlist. And then they don't see any other agent contact information when they work with you in the app. And they can't just come to Zenlist.com and start searching on here. They have to be invited by you in order to create an account. And that includes another additional benefit where your clients cannot work with more than one agent at a time. So once you invite your client, they are connected with you. They can't just go searching for other agent information on Zenlist. When they hit that request tour button or when they send you a specific individual listing, you're the only agent who know that activity exists. So for all your client knows, when they work with you on Zenlist, you're the only agent in the world who's there to help them with their real estate transaction. Now, how do we get our clients on Zenlist? How do we send that invitation? So there are a couple of ways that we can do that. First is right up at the top right here. We can hit invite client, and then we can add our client's first name, their last name, their email address. And then if we have it, we can add their cell phone number right here as well. First name, last name, email, those are the only fields that are required. Added benefit if you do have that mobile number though. So when we hit invite, they'll get an email and a text message that says, hey, your agent invited you to Zenlist. Click here to create your account. So real quickly, what that looks like. We'll invite our client right here. We'll add their email address and then their phone number. We hit invite. Ruby just got a invitation that said, hey, your agent just invited you to Zenlist. Click here to create your account. And at this point, if we just want to send that one invitation to Ruby, she's the only one looking for a home, we can hit done. If there are co-buyers that are searching for a home with Ruby though, what I can do at this point when I'm on this screen is I can hit invite new, select client, and then add a second co-buyer, a third co-buyer, a fourth co-buyer. Doesn't matter how many co-buyers we need to connect. I just do this process where I add their information and I connect them all together. So maybe this is and then we can type in that same information right here. Hit invite. We just sent both of these clients an invitation. At this point, we can be done. Just these two in this example. And so these clients then both got an invite to Zenlist. And if we look in this client tab, they'll be in my invited section. So this is how I can kind of keep tabs on who I've invited to Zenlist and know that when they live in this section, they haven't accepted their Zenlist invite yet. When they do accept that invitation, they're going to move over to this active tab right here. And this is how I can kind of see who's just been invited and who has actually created their account and how I'll kind of manage those two different things that are happening. Now, that's the first way we can invite a client to Zenlist. The second way that we can invite a client to Zenlist, and what I will recommend as a best practice, is to create a basic search for any client group that you're inviting to Zenlist so that once they create their account, they will be able to start receiving those search alerts from the search you created. They'll have listings to look at right away. And they can, start engaging with the platform right away. Now, we can create that search first, like we'll do here, and then send the invites once the search is created. So it's a little bit different than maybe what we're used to doing in other platforms like Connect MLS, where we invite the clients first, like we just did, and then we go back and attach a search to them later. This best practice that I'm recommending, just a little bit more streamlined. You're going to create that search, invite the clients, and then boom, be done with both things at the same time. So when I come into the search right here, I'll click on my search tab, and then I can start adding whatever criteria it is I need to create this search for my client. So that includes up here coming up to the top where I can add different cities, different school districts, even an elementary or middle school or high school specific zone. I can input zip codes. I can input counties. All I have to do is type those in one at a time up at the top right here. So I click and then maybe, there are 3 different downtown Chicago elementary schools that my client wants to search within the zone of. So maybe that first option is Oscar Mayer Elementary School. I can start typing that in and we'll see results start to populate. Again, I do this one at a time. So I search for the first option and then I select it. I've now added that to my map. And I can just add those other two school zones now. So maybe it's also Bell Elementary. I can start typing that in. That school zone is going to pop up right away for me. And then I can add that third option. Maybe it's Ravenswood Elementary School. I can type that in right there. This is also a good example about how just as I'm searching that keyword, we'll see what I'm specifically looking for is popping up, but it is going to pop up some of those sub-Chicago neighborhoods as well. So those are also options for you to search in Zenlist. So I can click right on there. I've now got all three of these different school zones applied to my search right here. I can see that on the map. And something to note as you're searching on Zenlist is when I am looking at the search, we are going to display public and private listings right away at the same time whenever you or your clients search on Zenlist. So these green listings are our active public listings. These blue listings right here, those are going to be our private listings. So we'll be able to differentiate between the two right away when we look at the map. And then furthermore, I know when I'm looking at this listing right here that it's private because I'll see this tag applied to the top right here. Just pointing that out so we always know how to differentiate between our public and private listings when we're searching on Zenlist. But it is a nice benefit that we'll be able to include everything all in one search right away so that we don't have to, start creating separate searches to make sure all of our criteria is included. So we've added all of the areas to our search that we need. Now, I will point out here that outside of, those pre-built areas like we see here, or like a specific city boundary, if there's a custom area I need to create or draw, I have those draw tools right here on Zenlist so that I can hit rectangle, create whatever, quick little square rectangular shape that I need. Use that polygon tool, just a fancy way to say create whatever funky kind of shape it is that your client or maybe that you are looking within. And then this radius tool, super useful, create like a quick boundary area 2 miles away from a point of interest. So as an example, maybe I have a client that wants to live within 2 miles of a red line stop. I can type in red line, or if I have the specific address, I can add that specific address here. I can say CTA red line, we'll actually just make it a mile. We don't want to walk 2 miles to the red line, and we can add that radius to put that right on our map right away so that we can just kind of see what's happening within that area or really hone in on a specific area that our client's looking for. So again, you can use some of these, quick add areas, those pre-populated boundaries intermixed with some custom draw areas here. So you can add that all to one search for private and public listings at the same time, and create one really powerful search to capture everything that your client is looking for. Now, using our imagination, we'll say that these are all the areas my client wants to search in. And then I can come in at this point, now that I have every different area they're looking in applied to the search, and I can get into the filters and really refine the criteria here. So if I hit filters, this is going to open up our filter tab where I will have access to all of the advanced MLS filters that I would typically find in Connect MLS. So coming right on down the list, just to kind of review this quickly, immediately I have for sale checked, looking for any for sale listings. If I have rentals or need to do a rental listing search, I can flip to looking for rent so that we can add those rental listings to our client's search as well if they need. Going back to looking at what's for sale on the market right now, we'll keep that checked, and then we can just keep on coming down our list right here, and we can add our price point. Maybe it's, 500 to $1 million, just for the purpose of this example. We can come in and we'll see those results start to kind of pare down. For private listings that may not have a list price on them yet, maybe the listing agent who put it in the private listing network is still testing out the market. They haven't added that price quite yet, but we want those private listings that don't have a list price to appear in our search. We can check that on so that we can make sure any of those would come in. See if we can find an example right here. We'll see those private listings with no price yet, have that little sideways mark right there just to say no price quite yet. We can filter our property type. We have all those options that you have in the MLS. Just for this search, we'll say we're looking for an attached or an attached single family home. We have all of your statuses right here. These are what are pre-selected for you, but you can customize any of this to get after whatever it is you're searching for. So that includes, even creating closed listing searches and filtering to months back to search with sellers or anyone who's just kind of curious about, what's happening in their neighborhood. A lot of different use cases, that you can use here in Zenlist. Then we can say bedrooms, bathrooms, all of that good stuff. Now, something to note with these private listings right here is private listings, the filters from price to keywords are the only filters that apply to those private listings. And that's because private listings do not have an area for the listing agent to say, oh, this, particular listing in the PLN has, a certain HOA amount or like a particular, master bedroom level. So what that means when we search is once we get past keywords, these filters right here, all of these advanced MLS filters don't have an effect on the private listings in your search. However, they will filter any public listings that appear in your search. So my extreme example is that maybe I have a client who only wants to pay $1 in taxes each year and $1 in HOA fees. We can see when we look at this that all of my public listings have been removed from my search, but the private listings remain. So we do that because outside of this extreme example, maybe there is, a private listing that has a master bathroom, but the listing agent doesn't have a way to say that. We don't want to prematurely exclude a private listing because it can't be filtered by that advanced criteria. And we want you to be able to have that all in one search to save yourself some time. Now, for all intensive purposes, we'll use our imagination. We'll say that this search is ready to go. Just some quick tips on viewing this search, because I know sometimes before we go and save it for a client, we want to just kind of see what kind of listings are coming up in this, make sure that everything looks good. I can, click on to these listings in map view right here. If we look up to the top right of my screen though, just below save search, I can actually flip how I'm viewing the results of this specific search. So this middle option is your tile option. It's just gonna kind of let you quickly browse through the photos of the homes real quick, see that basic information. And then over to the right, just past that tile view is a list view. So if I prefer to look at everything side by side so that I can just kind of quickly compare and contrast what's going on here, I can flip to this list view so that I can see everything, laid out just like this so I can get the information that I need. And if there's something in this list that isn't included by default, you can hit this little pencil. So if we're at Save Search, we're in List. This little pencil right here is going to come up. I can edit these columns then and choose different criteria or whatever criteria I want to appear in this list view right here. So I've reviewed this search. I'm ready to save it and invite my clients. When I'm ready to save that search, I just click Save Search, and then I just have to tell Zenlist where I want this search to go. So if it's just for me, I could save it for myself so that I'm the only one who receives updates about that particular search. If it is a client that I've already been working with on Zenlist, I can click on their name and send this to them. But in our example, that best practice is come in here, create that client search, and then once it's created, hit save search like we just did, select new client. And then if we remember at the beginning of this training, we saw that we just need the first, last name, email address, mobile number if you got it, to send a client invitation. So we'll call this client Jeff Bloom. We'll add Jeff's email here. And then if we've got that mobile phone number, we can add it right away. We hit invite. Now, just before we hit, off of the screen, make sure we hit next. We name this search and we hit save. And now we've just, in one kind of foul swoop, we've invited Jeff to the platform. We've saved this search for him. So as soon as he creates his account, he's going to have all of these listings right here to look at. He's going to be opted into instant search alerts so that he's going to start receiving updates from you from Zenlist. Now, last tip about inviting clients is as you're inviting a client, either before or shortly after, give them, a heads up. Let them know that you're going to be inviting them to Zenlist and kind of, plug that this is an exclusive platform not available to the public that is going to have, additional listings that aren't going to be on public websites for them to look at. So that could look something like, I'm going to use Angela as my example here. I'd be like, hey, Angela, I just sent you an invitation to Zenlist. It's an exclusive platform that my company uses to better service our clients. You can go in, create your account, download the app so that you can start searching on there. That search has private listings that aren't available on all public platforms. So it kind of gives you a competitive edge on the market. If you're interested in anything, you want to go see something on there, just hit request tour, chat with me directly in the app. So very quick, like 2-minute elevator pitch, just lets them know what they're getting, lets them know to be on the lookout for their invitation. And then once they create their account, they're going to see this same screen that I see right here. So there's heavy overlap between what my client sees and what I see on Zenlist to make it easy for us to collaborate back and forth. So looking at just some more active clients here, I have my clients Carly and Carter. And in that same example, they are seeing the same things that I'm seeing right here. They log into Zenlist and they're easily able to come up to the top here and click on either of these folders to review any listings they've saved or made a tour request on. Any of their saved searches so that we can edit them or, view it to even further to see what the client, if they've created a search, is looking at will be right here. But really quickly, all listing updates. This is kind of your chronological list or timeline of all the listings these clients have been sent. So this includes updates from all 3 of the searches saved to this client's account right here. And it's going to show you active listings right away. So today they were sent these 2 listings, yesterday these 2, and so on and so forth. As listings in the searches that they're sent are updated, get status changes on them, those statuses are going to update on those listings in real time on Zenlist. And they're going to be organized into these folders right here. So any listings that my clients were sent that got a price change on it, they'll live in this price change section. Any of those listings that were sent to them that went under contract, became contingent or pending, will live here as well. And that's how this operates. That's how the rest of this feed operates. So my clients saved listings. All of the saved listings that they saved that are active live here. The saved listings that went under contract live there, and so on and so forth. Same with their tour requests so that we can stay on top of what's happening right here. Now, a benefit to working with your client on Zenlist is not only can they create their own searches on here, but you do get to chat with them, which we'll see in a moment, but you also get to see the specific searches that they're creating in their individual activity. So if we look up at save searches right here, we're going to see saved by you. That's how I know that I created that search. Saved by Kirley. That's how I know which of my buyers created and saved a particular search. And if I want to just look at their specific search in more detail, I can click right up here. And then I can see the results of this search by itself pulling into this section right away. But I can also come up to the top right of my screen and I can hit edit search. And this will pull me into my map view here where I can then come in and see, okay, she added Lake Bluff and Lake Forest area to her search. And then I can click filters right here and I can see all the different filters that she added to this search as well. So this is a great place to come as you're working with those buyers to, see if they're maybe a little bit more flexible than, they said, but really create tailored communication that is going to show your buyers that you're really on top of, their ever-changing needs and wants. So, they know that you're really on top of their search. Now, going back, we can look at the specific searches they create. We can also look at their specific client activity. So whenever I click into a client group here and view this feed, within their feed is the client activity. I click and shows me a real-time log of all the actions these clients have taken on Zenlist, all the individual listings that they've looked at. So in this example, I can see that Kirley looked at this listing 3 times, looked at this one just an hour ago, and then these 2 just an hour ago, she actually requested tours on. So I can see everything that they're looking at. And then over to the right, I can see their most viewed properties right here. So I can see they looked at this one on Washington 4 times, 3 times, so on and so forth. And then any of these listings here, or even over here, I can always click on them to view the listing detail page right away and see what they were looking at. So really quick to review that listing detail page, and what we're going to find on here is my clients and I are going to see all the images on the homes. We're going to see any virtual video or 3D tours that listing agent may have uploaded. That basic property info right up at the top right here. Public remarks viewable to both my client and I. This section right here, only available to agents. So we remember back at the beginning of this, I said only other real estate agents can view agent contact info. Your clients do not know that this section exists right here. It's not available for them to view, but you will have options like viewing the private remarks, viewing who that listing agent is. And if they're using showing time to manage their showing request, that integration is going to be right here for you. So you can click showing time and it goes straight to your showing time account to request a tour for this particular listing. Back to what both my client and I see, we'll both have this notes section right here. So if there's something that I just want to note on this listing for my client to see as they're browsing on Zenlist, I can leave that note right here. My client can do the same for me, and we can keep track of our thoughts all in one section. So I could say like, going quick as an example. You can leave any notes that you want to put on this listing right here and hit save. Once that note is saved, your client's going to get an instant alert that you've done that, and vice versa. So you'll always both be notified right away via email and via the app on your phone so that you can respond to that activity right away. We'll both see the key details on this listing right here. We will both see the features and amenities so we can see exactly what's going on with this home. Agent info and confidential docs just for you. So another place to see private remarks, private showing instructions only for you and other agents on Zenlist. Same with confidential docs. So these are the attached documents that the listing agent has uploaded with their listing in Connect MLS. We'll have all of that here so you can easily click on floor plans. We can open that, get that PDF right away, print it out, do whatever it is we need to do, but we'll have that information readily available to us. There is also just this realist tax info right here. So you have that at your fingertips as well. Quick little payment calculator, a quick CMA, so me and my clients can see active or similar homes nearby. Rooms with specific dimensions are all right here. And then at the bottom is the schools that this is attached to, and then the property history is always listed right at the bottom right here, so we can see exactly what's been going on with this listing. So we've reviewed that listing. Kind of going back to my example, I know my client looked at this 3 times, right? But they didn't take an action on it. Maybe I want to follow up with them and be like, hey, like, you requested a couple tours. Do you want to go see this one too? What I can do is on this listing, I can click send. And this is going to allow me to send that to the Zenlist chat, sort of like a DM on Instagram, or if you're sending something on Facebook to the Facebook Messenger, you hit that send button. You can pick your client group that you want to send this particular listing to, just to kind of bring that to the top of their feed, bring that to their attention. And I can say, hey, I saw this listing. Did you want to go look at it this weekend? I hit send. That is going to send this straight to our Zenlist chat, where my client is going to be notified in real time right on their phone. Works the same for you and vice versa. If your client's sending you a chat message, and we can communicate about this listing all within Zenlist. If any of these chats go unanswered, in either case, the client or you will send you a follow-up email in 30 minutes to be like, hey, don't forget that you have this chat, waiting for you. Now, we just talked about, going to see some homes with these clients. So let's just talk really quickly about how to set up a tour on Zenlist so that I can use this tool to keep everything all in one place, including all of the homes that I'm going to look at with these clients and share a tour itinerary with them. So for my clients, they requested tours on a couple of specific listings. So I can click into their tour requests and I can view those right here. And I can add them to a tour folder for my client and I. To select multiple listings at one time, I'll just click into these little like check boxes right up at the top of that tile view and add them to my shopping cart. And then I wanted to also put that listing that I sent to my client in the chat in our tour folder too. So we'll see that right up at the top of their list just because we chatted it to them, but know that you have this chat listings kind of file within this client's filing cabinet. I can click right there just to get back to anything that I may have sent the client individually so I can access that quickly. And I'll click on it right here just to add that to my shopping cart as well. Once I have everything selected, I can just kind of review that quickly, but I can hit add to tour and then hit new tour because I'm creating a new tour for my clients Kirley and Carter here. Select their names and then pick the tentative date we're going to go look at those on. And then I can hit go to tour. Here is that upcoming tour. My client gets notified that this has been created so that they can follow along from their Zenlist account. So once I create this, my client can see this page on their end, with the exception of this notes section right here and the showing instructions right here. Notes within the tour are just for you to note things like lock boxes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, things that you wouldn't typically share, but you could store that digitally just for yourself. Then you can, access the showing instructions really easily right from this section right here. So your clients don't know that these exist right here, but they can see tour status, time. They can't make changes to it, but they can kind of see things happen in real time as you're working hard to get this set up. So as you're arranging this, the first thing that you might do is come take our eyes down to the map view and hit show route just to get drive times between A, B, and C. We can always drag and drop these into whatever order. Everything updates for our client in real time. So if there is a last minute change, we don't have to worry about, you know, our client not receiving that on Zenlist. We can always hit optimize right here too if these aren't in the most optimal order. We can hit that and it will rearrange it for us. And then we can input our tentative times that we're going to go request these tours for. And then we can say requested, 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 let our client know that those have been requested. And once we're ready to go, they've been confirmed. We can hit confirm, confirm, confirmed. And that is going to update that for our client as well. Then come the day of the 26th, we're ready to go and look at these homes. Both my client and I can hit this dot, dot, dot and click view in Google Maps so that we can pull up our drive directions from A, B, C to D so we can just cruise about this route without having to manually input everything after we leave every single listing. And then finally, pre-tour, if I have everything confirmed and I just want to add this to my calendar very easily so that I can block off that time in my schedule, I can hit add to calendar, select whatever calendar it is I use, and we will have this entire event made for us, showing tour for these clients, this date, this time range, and all of our route directions right at the bottom right here. Then we hit save, boom, it's added to our calendar. So those are kind of our in and out of kind of working with clients, getting them searches created, kind of viewing some of that activity, creating that tour. One thing that I forgot to mention that I just want to be sure we're all aware of is that client activity, when they save a listing, make a tour request, create and save a search, leave a note, chat with you. Those are all instant alerts that are going to be sent to you via email, so you don't have to worry about missing them. If you have the mobile app on your phone, you'll get a push notification. If you ever anything slips by, you have a notification center right here so you can manage everything and see how everything kind of happens across your client groups and just, review any of those actions they may have taken. Now, we've talked a lot about buyers. This can also be a really great seller tool as well. And so I want to bring our attention over to this My Listing section. In this My Listing section, you're going to see all the listings you have in the MLS right here. And just as we look at this, we're going to see that there really quickly is kind of a high level overview of the traffic that these listings are getting on Zenlist. So this listing right here is viewed 188 times, saved 10 times, no tour request quite yet, but we can view that activity just by looking at this page. And I'll come down to this listing right here, has 141 views, 10 saves, 5 tour requests. If I click on this is going to, first of all, let me reverse prospect to agents who had clients who interacted with this listing. So all of these 9 agents here, they had clients who saved this listing. These agents right here, these clients all had agents all had clients who made a tour request on this listing. So I can then click contact right here to get that agent's contact info and reach out to them and be like, hey, like, saw you requested a tour. When you coming to look at this? Or however you may want to handle that. If we see chat right here, it means this agent is on Zenlist. So I can actually utilize the Zenlist chat to chat with that agent as well. And then up at the top, or right here, I guess, we'll talk about this little chart real quick. It's just a graph of how that activity has sort of changed over time. So in the past month, this is how Many clients have viewed my listing, made a tour request, all that good stuff. I can look at this graph. I can change how, we view that information. If I have a seller on Zenlist, you'll actually be able to share this activity graph with them via Zenlist if you want them to log into their account and see this activity chart. We can just hit add to add one of our client groups to this so that they have access to just this activity graph right here so they can kind of keep track of some of that activity. And then last but not least, there is also up at the top right a seller report right here so that we can always copy and paste this report into any of the other reports we might be sending to our seller to kind of let them know the traffic that their listing has been getting from Zenlist among all those other sources as well. Alrighty, folks. Last but not least, I realized that I didn't talk about archiving, and that's a question that we get a lot. Last but not least, so we can work with our buyers, work with our sellers, but what should we do with them after we're done? So on Zenlist, what you can do, we'll use these clients as an example. They're done with their search, but what do I do now? So when I kind of want to keep things more organized and move things around. This client's done with their search. What I can do is I can either archive their feed or I could delete them from Zenlist. The difference, archiving is going to allow your client to search passively and get the same benefits of searching the PLN, only being connected to you, while they search passively. If I delete them, they're totally removed from Zenlist. That's, open season, it deletes their account. I'd have to re-invite them to work with me in the future. So if you ever are kind of moving things along with the client, they're done with their transaction, suggest archiving them so that we can let them browse passively, maybe while they're not actively working with us. And then we can, just unarchive them in the future. Should they come back into the fold, we don't have to reinvite them, all of that good stuff. That was a quick explanation, but that's pretty much all I have. So I want to make sure we have enough time for questions before we wrap up our session today. So
That was awesome, Taylor. We have lots of questions, so we have 10 minutes. Let's like breeze through all of this, okay?
cool.
All right, we have some Michigan questions specific to the Michigan Zen list.
Sure.
So Brian was saying that the main problem with his search is that the search would default for any buyer to Illinois only. In order to search for a Michigan buyer, they had to go through a process to change the MLS they were searching before performing their search. Do you have any tips or tricks on that? How to just make it easier, Taylor?
Yeah, so what we have now, that's actually a great question, is, and for anyone who didn't know, before if you had multiple MLSs, you'd have to come up to searching MRAD and then switch right here between, whatever MLSs that is. Set the default. Your clients will default to whatever you default to here, to Zen. That's going to incorporate all of the MLSs you've added to your account in one layer so that you can search everything at the same time.
That is a great tip. Brian, that should solve all your world's problems. We have another question. Do we want them to set up the search? Typically set it up myself. I let them know best practice is to set up the search, send them the invite, and then the client can edit the search. Showing time also isn't integrated for Michigan. So when we set up a tour, we are always having to straddle between their MLS and Zenlist to schedule appointments once a tour is set up.
So for Michigan showing time, that is because that MLS hasn't given us access to their showing time feed. So
Mm,
unfortunately, I don't have a great workaround for that right now. What you could do, just like I guess a quick tip, I'm gonna of course, I don't have Michigan on here right now, but when you pull up a listing on Zenlist, um, right up at the top is at least going to be the MLS ID so that you can kind of more easily like copy it and paste it into showing time. That might save you some time, but until we get a showing time feed for Mishrick, there's not unfortunately not a great workaround.
Okay. Steve said, can you explain the hot sheet feature? Another question, do we always want a search set up as a hot sheet?
So funny enough, when we released Hot Sheet, you were able to use it in a saved search. You can no longer do that, and that's because your Hot Sheet isn't meant to be a saved search. It's a market check-in. And so when we had originally released it and allowed people to do that, their searches started looking really goofy because it's looking within 72 hours with it, it's looking back in time. So the hot sheet is for like a quick one and done check-in on the market, or I want to know what happened on the market within the past 72 hours. We'll see that that's automatically going to change up some of the statuses that are included in my search. So that green is that go, stoplight, anything that came on the market. Yellow is like slow down, it's contingent or pending. And then red is anything that closed. So your hot sheet is like a quick market check-in. And it is really useful when coupled with, if we look down at the bottom here, this option to view stats, so we can easily get averages within the past 72 hours, whatever time frame you have. So think hot sheet is I want to know what happened on the market. I want averages, but not meant to be included in the saved search.
Perfect. Is there a way to hide or mark places as not interested to remove them from so clients don't keep seeing these places on the all listings updates homepage or on the map?
So yep, once you save a search for a client, what you can do, there's like this little trash can right here. We can always come in and we can hit it and it will hide that listing and remove it from this like main feed. It goes over to this hidden section right here, this little like hidden file within your filing cabinet. So we can always see what I've hidden or what my client has hidden. And if we need to unhide it, it was a mistake, we can hit this little unhide button and bring it back into the fold.
Perfect. Can a client override a search that I saved?
I find so your clients see the same things that you do. So a client could very well come in here and remove your search. You'd be able to see that. I find that that doesn't really happen. But I do think that it's a good a point to say that good communication helps when working with your clients in any case. So your client, could edit your search. And I see some agents who tell their clients like, hey, go ahead and do that. But if you don't want your client to do that, tell them create their own searches. They'll run side by side and, be that cruise director who's kind of, telling them what to expect on this cruise.
Great. Do we have to invite ourselves to set up a search that only we see?
So if you want to set up a search just for yourself, you don't need to invite yourself. When you go into the search tab and you create your search, you go save search, just pick your own name right here. Uh, and that just saves it only for you. So think if it's only has my name on it, I'm at the top, I don't need to invite myself, it'll save it just for me. When you do that, it's going to live in your personal feed right here. So I have all of these saved searches for myself. Here's that search I just saved. These are searches that I only get results for.
Perfect. Rennie said, I have a client who is an ad agent in Chicago who is buying in Michigan. He already has an account. Does he have to use a different email? He's signed up as an agent and wants to sign up as a buyer.
So he signed up as an agent now, but wants to
Yeah,
sign up as a buyer.
in
So
Michigan. Yep.
so he would need a different email address just because you
Mhm.
can't have, you know, the same email address associated with multiple accounts. So if he had like a personal email address that he could do that, and that way you could give him access to Michigan. That might be the easiest way
I
to
think so too. Just
do
use
that.
tell him to use a personal email, Rennie. That'll be
Yeah.
an easy workaround. Kathy says our oh we already said that. Yes, all listings are on Zenlist. All brokerages listings are on Zenlist now.
Yes.
Um do, do, do. Once Kathy says, once I already have a client set up and they are using a search, am I able to go back and introduce them to my preferred lender that is set up in Zenlist?
That's a great question. So, yes, you can. So, these clients, as an example, they're already set up. I want to introduce them to a lender. At this point, I haven't done that already. I can just click on their name, and then up at the top, there's this dot, 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 and you can hit recommend a lender. And then if you haven't already done that, you can hit add lender, search for your lender, or click on their name right there to invite them or introduce them to your lender.
Awesome. Can you print out the listings you are touring from Zenlist?
So that's actually a new feature. So on Zenlist, what you'll see as an agent right now is when you click into a listing, you'll have agent compact view. It's going to let you look at this more like an MLS sheet, but you can hit this dot, 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 and you can hit print. Now, this is a new functionality, so if you have any feedback about how this looks, definitely let me know, but you'd be able to save it or even send it to the printer.
That's an awesome upgrade. Okay. Can a client add to their own calendar?
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. Uh, Will the seller see the other agents' names? I think that's when you were talking about like the report.
They won't. So your seller only gets access to that little graph. They don't see the reverse prospecting or other agent names or anything like that.
Okay, great. For clients who browse passively, can an invitation be sent for them to play around with their own parameters without us setting a search when we invite them?
So you would, so whenever, so the invite is pretty standard. You invite a client and they get that, hey, your agent invited you to search Zenlist. All of your clients are going to be able to create their own search. At that point, once they create their account, you could very well archive them so that they can search passively, but not, live in this active section.
Right.
Um, but again, I think that just goes back. If you want your client just to search on there passively, like a good communication is always key. Like, hey, go ahead and create your own search and let them know that they can do that. Because the invitation, kind of says like, hey, like, create your account. You can do this, but it's always good to get the double tap, I guess I'll call it.
Yeah. Monique is asking, does Zenlist upload draft listings? For example, if I want to see saved buyer search for a listing at 750K versus 700K.
Um, like draft listings from the MLS that haven't been published yet is my
Yeah, Monique, I think we need more details on that because I don't really understand that question either. If you could put it in there. Amy says, can clients use Zenlist to look at homes in areas outside of the MLS you subscribe to? For example, can they look at homes in Colorado?
Right now they can't. They can only look at the areas that you are subscribed to.
Right. Um, can you use Zenlist for prospecting? Yes, we just showed you how to do the prospecting feature. Does Zenlist pull all Flex MLS in Wisconsin?
Good question. Right now it's just Metro MLS. I know that there are like 12 other MLSs in Wisconsin, but it's just that Metro Milwaukee area MLS right now.
Yeah. How can you set up an account for a new buyer client who I have a buyer's broker's agreement with? He got added to Zenlist by a broker of an open house he stopped in prior to us meeting.
Okay, so it would be the same exact process. So we said buyers can't work with multiple agents at once, which is absolutely true. So you can still send that buyer an invitation though. You'll just go to invite client or like I said, create their search and add them, enter their first, last name and email address, hit invite. They're gonna get that invite. They sign into Zenlist, they go to their account, click on their agent information and can change to an agent that they have an active invite for. I will send you our little help article, Angela, after this, just so that you guys have that ready, but it's very easy.
Okay, perfect. Give me Taylor, can you take a look at chat really quick? I'm gonna take the screen back.
Yep. The question came in, they can work with multiple agents in the same area. No, they can only work with one agent at a time. So if you invite someone who's already on Zenlist, they have to choose your invitation. When they do, they're removed from the previous agent's account. That agent has no access to them and they live only in your Zenlist account.
Perfect. All right, I think we got all the questions. Great questions, you guys. Taylor, awesome. Can you see my screen, Taylor?
Not yet. Oh, wait.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. All right, so this week's challenge, guys, just to wrap it all up. So for agents who are not currently using Zenlist, let's get in there, learn how to log in, set up your profile, get comfortable with those features. And your challenge is to set up one person on a search and just get used to it. For agents who are already using Zenlist, there's a lot of agents who don't have their profile set up correctly. So get in there, make sure your profile is set up. You can also look at some user analytics and reach out to 5 current users to stay engaged. In the follow-up post for this session, you will see some scripting that we put together specifically for Zenlist outreach. So take a look at that if you need some help, but this is a really good way to stay engaged with people. Also, Zenlist has a ton of additional training. There's a link there. Once you have a copy of the slides, you'll have the link on there too, but please feel free once you're on the Zenlist platform to look at the additional training that they have. They also have one-on-one help if you need it. So the link is there too, where you can sign up and talk to someone personally from Zenlist if you have questions. Again, email us summer success stories, and our next webinar will be Monday, July 28th at 9 a.m. for another small group discussion. I hope to see you all at your 60 days of summer events, and I hope you guys have a great week.